me cry. Hi, sweet girl. No. You guys did well, though. All right, I feel like I don't even really need to shush you guys right now, which is super great. Awesome. Hi, my name is Chloe A. McElroy. Welcome to the University Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. We are here, and so I'm just going to let you know I left my notes at home, so I'm kind of winging it today, but I'm going to do the best I can for you guys. I know that I remember that we do this little welcome thing where we talk about how we're a lay-led congregation, and we have many speakers that come in throughout the time here. So we have people from academia, we have people from our community, like we have Nicole Parker coming in to talk today from the center, which is, someone we want to allyship with, obviously, because it aligns with our values. We also have different speakers come in from our congregation, so it's a wide variety of different people coming in here, and we ask that if you're a visitor or someone who hasn't come a fair amount, to come at least 3 times, because you're going to see something different every time you come. You won't see me, you'll see a different service leader. Oh, look at Paula gave me something that is helpful, so I know which order we're going in. Thank you, Paula. So I will be hopefully more quirky today in order to cover up said failures. But no failures, just little quirks. Anyways, this is the time we also acknowledge that we have members and visitors also online with us, which we appreciate them coming to see us. So let's give them a wave and say hi. Hi, visitors and members that are here. We appreciate you being here. And then this is also the time that you are going to say hi to your neighbor, but listen for me to call you back, okay? What does a waterfall sound like? As I know our beloved Paula would say, that's what heaven sounds like. And there'll be more time for that. We have coffee and conversation after, lots of treats and more coffee and tea. So please stay after and have a conversation. Let's see, I think we move on to committee moments now. I have been given 2 warnings by the pledge drive and by the auction drive, or auction committee, sorry, that committee moments may run longer than normal today. I know that we're not normally enjoying that, but we're trying our best here to limit them down, but they're going to be speaking for a little longer, so let's try to keep our attention on committee moments. Thank you.
Glad you said that because mine's a little longer. Laura Owen, Social Action Committee. I just wanted to thank you all, as usual, for your generous donations to Share the Plate. For anyone who's new, Share the Plate is every week that you give your, I don't know, we don't call it tithing here, collection. The Social Action Committee takes 40%, and we apply towards an organization for 3 months. Towards that organization. Sometimes we do it longer, as we did for Hope Community Center in Apopka, if the need is particularly imminent, and I think you all know why the need is particularly imminent, because the Hope Community Center reaches out to the immigrant community. There's a lot of farm workers. They do education, scholarship, advocacy, a lot of legal work. They have a pantry, so anything you can think of, they help that community. What else did I want to tell you? Just today, our organization that's talking is the Center, which I'll let them tell you about who they are, but please do donate and designate as your heart calls you to be as generous as you can. Thank you. Appreciate that.
I'm going to be wearing a couple of hats, but the first one is pastoral care. We had our monthly meeting just a couple of days ago and realized that we really need to keep reminding folks that if you want to sign up to help, or if you are in need of care, please contact somebody on pastoral care, and if you're not sure who that is, see somebody on the board where they can direct you to the right person. You can always talk to me. I'll get you to the right person. We're happy to help. And Reverend Kathy also asked me to talk to you about the Faith Leader Network, who are in charge of the Immigrants Are Welcome Here program. They have a vigil scheduled for City Hall at 4 p.m. on the first and third Sundays. So that's 4 p.m. at City Hall. Immigrants Are Welcome Here, Faith Leader Network vigils. Thank you.
I'm Janet, and not this Sunday, but next Sunday after the service, we'll be having our next New Inquiring Minds meeting. And the topic for this one will be Buddhism and the concept of the non-self and the 7 principles. And Peter will be leading us in that discussion.
Hi everyone, Tay with RE. Just a note for a quarterly meeting next week, there is childcare available. There will be food, there will be pizza. So if any families would like to stay for that, your kids will be able to stay in the back, hang out and play, and have lunch. So just wanted to let you all know. Thank you.
Hi, Lori Hospitality. And again, quarterly meeting, we'll be providing a heavy snack to keep your energy up so you can stay through the meeting. So there'll be a meat option, a vegetarian option, and a vegan option for everybody.
I feel like there's 3 announcements for the quarterly meeting. Just reminding everybody the quarterly meeting is next week. We will be expeditious because we know people are getting ready for like Super Bowl Sunday and all that. So go Seahawks. Anyway, so we'll see you next week.
Hey everybody. We're a little late getting started, but the auction will be on Sunday, April the 19th. And you are the auction committee, and I need everyone to be involved. So finally, I have the sign-up forms. They're over on that table. There are 2. One is for individuals, and one is one that you give to companies and people that, organizations that can donate. We have had fabulous donations in the past. I do need those slips back by the end of March. And this is February 1st, believe it or not, today. So we have 2 months to get everything ready. In the past, we have had wonderful restaurants and museums and Universal Studios and all sorts of wonderful organizations. But those need to be given to them in enough time for them to make their decision. I'll be doing my regular Oviedo walk to walk. They told me not to say solicitation, but I am a street walker for Triple U. But anybody else who wants to be a street walker, see me. But some of our most popular things are things that our own members offer. You have so many talents. And I want you to raise your hand if you went to a wonderful auction event or bought something wonderful from the auction, and holler out what it was that you went to that you liked. I'm going to point to you. What was it that you liked?
I like the Murder Mystery Dinner Theater.
The Murder Mystery Dinner Theater. Wonderful opportunity. Yes. Learning how to make sourdough bread. Ellen. Dot painting class. Yes. Oh, Portrait of Your Parents by Roberta, such a talented person. Yes?
The pictures at my husband's memorial were digitized from something I got at the office.
I did that as well. That's wonderful. Yes.
Pictures at the memorial, said Joey. We're just trying to make sure our friends online still here.
The Newlywed Game. I went to an improv workshop by David that was fabulous.
Got
Anybody
any more?
else who got something at the auction? Car wash, yay.
I really loved the murder mystery party, mostly just because Jill literally made her own vegan cheese because she didn't like the vegan cheeses that were out there. And it was the most delicious thing I think I've ever tasted. She is one of the best chefs ever. And so if you ever have the opportunity to eat her food, do it.
What I love best about the murder mystery is people didn't recognize me in my costume. That was fun. But there is so much opportunity. We already have delicious food being arranged for, including a whole vegan option and regular food being made. Thank you to the people that are donating, making and providing that. And my granddaughter-in-law will again make the cake and cookies. They're so good from her bakery. But think about what you can do. If you are a carpenter or a painter, or you can fix things, or if you can do free electrical work or plumbing, there's all sorts of talents that we have.
Or airport parking.
The airport parking is a wonderful, easy thing to do if you have a place near the airport where somebody can park their car. Save you from paying for it somewhere. So instead, pay us. Our goal, again, is $5,000. We've come so close every year. And please, before you leave today, take one of each of those forms. One is for you to make copies of to give to companies and businesses. There was one for legal work, all sorts of things. And the other one is individual. And then you can make more copies of them. And we're going to have a wonderful auction. We're going to have a good time. But it takes all of us to make it happen. Is April the 19th, a Sunday. So we'd like to have everything the end of March because we put some things online ahead of time, including the events. And we want to put them on advance. And what will happen is some of those will fill up before the actual auction happens because those parties are pretty popular. So we'll be announcing ahead of time when that opens up. Sarah is my co-chair. She's away on vacation right now, but she'll be getting it together. Right now, my auction email is not working, but when she comes back, she'll perform her magic, and it will be by next week. So that'll be working, but please take the forms today. Thank you.
I'm
Auction.
sorry.
Okay, we like the auction. Let's give it some love. All right.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that Social Action Committee decided, and we should have done it a long time ago, we just didn't, to announce how much we were collecting so that you all know that what your generous donations are. Thank you.
You got it.
So because we collected for the Hope for 6 months, we collected $2,678. So
give it some love, give it some
that's a
love.
lot, and I know that they're really a warm, amazing group of people. If you ever get out there in a pop-up, please do.
Good morning, Margie with membership. In 2 weeks, on February 15th, after services, I'll be holding Bettina and I will be holding a coffee, cake, and chat. And that is for any new visitors who haven't been to one before. We make a pastry and we get to know each other a bit and learn a little more about our congregation and Unitarian Universalism. So I hope to see you there, all new visitors.
What time is that at?
Could I reserve a piece of pastry now?
The question was, can they be reserved of pastry
I
in advance?
usually make much more than we can eat, so there is some for you
Yes.
too. And
And what time does this start, Margie?
this will start about 10 minutes after services.
Amazing.
I'm not sure if we're going to be sharing the conference room or going in the teen room. We'll be letting you know. That's not a problem. And I also just want to share, I'm kind of excited. The only other Margie I've ever known was my Aunt Margie. Guess what? We have another Margie here.
Yay.
Margie, raise your hand and say hi.
Hi, Margie.
Is that amazing?
Another Margie. All right.
The Women's Sisterhood will be having our Galentine's Day party this Friday night at 6:30 here, so bring something you'd love to share.
Who?
And on the topic of love, since it's the month of love, we are about to start a new pledge drive. Oh, I know. Sounds kind of scary, especially since we've just been talking about the auction. Here's a message you will hear from now until the end. Pledging is what we need to keep the lights on. It's what we do every day. It's what we need to keep the church going. The auction is wonderful, but it's extra. Just so you know, we need them both. Pledging is what keeps us going week after week. The auction is so we can do all that special stuff, okay? All right, that said, our new theme is sustaining what we love. And I'm going to ask you, if you will, I'm not going to ask for any money just yet, although that's coming, folks, just so you know. What I'd really like you to do is to help me with the motivation part. I brought in these little Post-it notes. There's blue and pink ones. That's just the colors they had. Nothing, don't read anything into that. And you can take a Post-it note and write on it something you love about this community and post it right up here. I want to fill this as much as I can. If I need to get another heart, I'll get another heart. We want to have as many Post-it notes up there as possible. And next week, there's a big treat for you. I'll be talking to you most Sundays about the pledge, and I'll be going into all the details later, but I know you're anxious to get started, as am I. Have a wonderful service.
All right, let's give it up for the pledge drive and Miss Joey Cole. All right, amazing. So now that work committee moments are done, finally, thank you. We're going to move on to our opening words, and luckily I screenshotted them off of my beautiful fiance's phone, so I have something. So, you know, as our topic is around the LGBTQ plus community and transgendered rights, I wanted to find some opening words from the UUA, our Unitarian Universalist Association. Oh, and by the way, I normally describe myself by, just for if anybody can't see me, and I realized I didn't do that. But so I'm Chloe, I should use she, her pronouns. I have orange hair. I have an amazing I am Knuff colorful hoodie on, and I have many, many layers because I'm not used to this cold weather. Now I will go on to my opening words from the UUA. As such, we raise our voices in solidarity to unequivocally proclaim the holiness of transgender, non-binary, and intersex people, as well as the recognition of the entire spectrum of gender identity and expression. This was the interfaith statement from the UUA on November 12th, 2025. And now we're going to move on to opening music. And it's coming up. Here comes Janet.
So this is going to be around. We've done this quite a few times before, and we usually do it a cappella, but we fortunately have Alicia here with us today. So we're going to sing it through one time together, and then we're going to break it into parts. This side's going to start, I'll lead, then this side, and we'll do in a round twice. So please rise as you're willing and able. Come, come, whoever you are, wandering, worshiping, loving and leaving, as is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving, as is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving, as is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Thank you.
Literally one of my favorites. So we're going to go ahead and light our chalice now. We're going to have Eva coming up. She uses she, her pronouns. She is 4, and she's excited that Gaga Pat is coming to her house. That is her grandmother, for anybody who does not know Gaga Pat, although I'm sure you've seen her around here. I don't know if I could have done that at 4, so that was a rock star moment right there. So we're going to go ahead and say our words together for lighting of the chalice. In the light of truth, in the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. We also like to affirm our time here together, so we're going to go ahead and say our affirmation as well. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its gift. This is our great covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek truth and love, and to help one another. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and move on to a time of joys and concerns. So I just want to warn you that we do, like I mentioned, have filming online. So if there's something that you might not want to share with the entire internet, maybe keep it more brief or to yourself. But please come up and share, and if you need me to bring the mic to you, please raise your hand. And Pat's going to bring the mic right over here so our online friends can see. Thank you, Pat. By the way, AV stars. Thank you.
So this is a joy from the Zoom participant, Evelyn. She says her joy is that she'll be watching a movie with her movie club today, Melania. Oh, hold on. Sorry, silly me. No one's watching that. She's going to watch a documentary by Michelle Obama called Becoming.
My joy is that is that I finished my post that I made.
I know I'm not the only one that went yesterday to the anti-ICE protest. That was fantastic. It was such an uplifting experience, mostly from the public driving down the street, the support we got from them. Hundreds and hundreds of people giving us peace signs and fists and honking. And
We got some.
I missed those. I didn't see any.
I'm going to piggyback on that. I'm going to a protest at 2 o'clock, 2:30 today in Brevard County, if anyone wants to join me. We're going to freeze, but it's okay. And my other joy is that my chickens made it through the frigid weather. Their water was frozen, but they're alive.
Thank you. Well, someone has to kill the mood. I'm going to bring a concern to the table. I'm currently a high school student, and I am scared for my friends and my classmates and all those being affected by ICE right now because it's scary. It's scary to see my neighbors and the people I go to school with disappear. But on a good note, our school is organizing a walkout on February 13th after the ICE. So there's hope. Lake Cal High School, Seminole County. So there is hope. And that makes me feel a bit better.
Yes.
I'm going to try to make this better.
Allie Carville here. I have two joys. First is my brother's girlfriend at UCF is having a concert this afternoon, percussion. So music fills all of our lives and hearts. And secondly, my mother's birthday is tomorrow. So there may be cupcakes next week.
I don't feel like walking around. I had that awful viral thing that was going around, and so many people were struggling with it. I got it. I don't have it anymore, and I am so grateful.
My joy is that I'm visiting you from the Atlanta area, UU of Gwinnett. So whenever I go out of town, I try to visit a UU church. This is my first time here. Yeah. And my discomfort is, I thought it was supposed to be warm here.
It normally is, we promise. Sorry.
I have a lovely joy. Our good friend Judith, that a lot of you I think know as our past DRE, is actually opening a bookstore in Altamont Springs. We just had our soft opening on this past Friday, but I'll be working there part-time, which I'm really excited about. I get to work at a bookstore and with one of my favorite people who runs it, and then Joey's working there, and she's also one of my favorite people. So it seems like a big joy and like a big dream come true almost, and almost like a fantasy. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm pretty excited about it. I'm going to drop a stone for me, and I have one more joy. Or concern. It could be a concern.
What's the name of the bookstore?
It's called Shelf Life.
I just wanted to ask you where it is in Altamont.
Oh, it is called Shelf Life. It is 185 South Westmont Drive. Yes, I got there. Any other ones? Yeah, we're Unit 1216. So, if you're wandering, you'll find us. You'll see a lot of Jewish people, too, because it is a nice Jewish community around there, which we love. Do I keep this here? No? Okay. All right, I'm back. It is now time for all ages, I believe. Yes. And we're going to welcome up our amazing Tay Barton to share a nice story with us, although I really love her jacket today, and I just wanted to compliment her on that.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Today's time for all ages is the Iroquois tale, The Earth on the Turtle's Back. Before this earth existed, there was only water. It stretched as far as one could see, and in that water, there were birds and animals swimming around. Far above, in the clouds, there was the skyland, and in that skyland, there was a great and beautiful tree. And it had 4 white roots which stretched to each of the sacred directions, and from its branches, all kinds of fruits and flowers grew. There was an ancient chief in the skyland. His young wife was expecting a child, and one night she dreamed that she saw the great tree uprooted. The next morning she told her husband the story, and he nodded as she finished telling the dream. "My wife," he said, "I am sad that you had this dream. It is clearly a dream of great power, and as is our way, when one has a powerful dream, we must do all that we can to make it true. The great tree must be uprooted." And then the ancient chief called the young men together and told them that they must pull up the tree. But the roots of the tree were so deep, so strong, that they could not make it budge. And at last, when the ancient chief himself came to the tree, he wrapped his arms around it, bent his knees and strained. And at last, with one great effort, he uprooted the tree and placed it on its side. Where the tree's roots had gone deep into the skyland, there was now a big hole. And the wife of the chief came close and leaned over to look down, grasping the tip of one of the great tree's branches to steady herself. And it seemed as if she saw something down there, far below, glittering like water. She leaned out further to look, and as she leaned further and further, her hand slipped off the tip of the branch, leaving her with only a handful of seeds as she fell down, 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 down. Far below, in the waters, some of the birds and animals looked up. "Someone is falling towards us from the sky," said one of the birds. "We must do something to help her," said another. So 2 swans flew up, and they caught her. And they caught the woman from the sky between their wide wings. Slowly they began to bring her down towards the water, where the birds and animals were watching. "She is not like us," said one of the animals. "Look, she doesn't have webbed feet. I don't think she can live in the water." "What shall we do then?" said another of the water animals. "I know," said one of the water birds. "I have heard that there is earth far below the waters. If we dive down and bring up earth, then she will have a place to stand." And so the birds and animals decided that someone would have to bring up earth. One by one, they tried. So first the duck dove down, some say, and he swam down and down far beneath the surface, but he could not reach the bottom. So he floated back up. The beaver then tried, and he went deeper, so deep that it was all dark, but he could not reach the bottom either. The loon tried, swimming with his strong wings, and he was gone a long time, but he too failed to bring up the earth. And then a small voice spoke. "I will bring up the earth, or I will die trying." And they looked to see who it was, and it was a tiny muskrat. And she dove down and swam, and she was not as strong, nor was she as swift as the others, but she was determined. She went so deep that it was all dark, and still she swam deeper. She went so deep, her lungs felt ready to burst, but still she swam deeper. And at last, just as she was becoming unconscious, she reached out one small paw to grasp at the bottom, barely touching it, before she floated up, completely unconscious. When the other animals saw her break the surface, they thought she had failed. Then they saw her right paw was held tightly shut. "She has the earth," they said. "Now where can we put it?" "Place it on my back," said a deep voice. It was the great turtle who had come up from the depths. And they brought the muskrat over to the great turtle and placed her paw against his back. To this day, there are marks on the backs of turtle shells which were made by the muskrat's paw. A tiny bit of earth fell on the back of the turtle, and almost immediately it began to grow larger and larger and larger until it became the whole world. And then the 2 swans brought the sky woman down. She stepped onto the new earth, and opened her hands, letting the seeds fall into the bare soil. From those seeds, the tree and the grass sprang up. Life on earth had begun. This tale exemplifies that despite differences in creatures, with determination and heart, we can make a place for everyone and everything, finding a sense of harmony in the most beautiful ways and most unlikely of places. Thank you.
Well, that was awesome. All right, so we're going to move on to our interlude and offering now. I just want to let you know that during our interlude and offering, we actually, have collections that'll keep our lights on, that keeps, our things moving along here. So, and then 40% of our share of the plate does go to local nonprofits. As we said, we've selected the center, but obviously we're going to let her talk about that when she comes up. So we'll go ahead and start interlude and offering. I'm sure Janet and E.T. or someone's going to come up here in a minute. Oh, it's Paula. It's Paula. It's our beautiful Paula.
So if you're one of those people who knows how to read music, you can find a hymnal in the chair right in front, under the chair right in front of you, and look at the notes. Otherwise, just look at the lyrics up here with me. Stand, if you will, as you may. Oh, no, we can't stand up when we're doing offering. I'm sorry. I was all discombobulated. What wondrous love is this, O my soul, O my soul? What wondrous love is this, O my soul? What wondrous love is this that brings my heart such bliss and takes away the pain of my soul, that takes away the pain of my soul. When I was sinking down, when I was sinking down, when I was sinking down beneath my sorrow's ground, friends to me gathered round, O my soul, friends to me gathered round, O my soul. To love and to all friends I will sing, To love and to all friends I will sing. To love and to all friends who pain and sorrow mend, with thanks unto the end I will sing, with thanks unto the end I will sing. Thank you.
That was beautiful. We always welcome our children to stay, but if they want to go out to their lesson, which I'm assuming they do, we are going to go ahead and sing them out. E.T., I'm sure, is going to play for us. We love you and bless you and send you on your way. We love you and bless you today and every day. And we're we're slowly getting our friends out, so I will take a minute. So we have Nicole Parker coming in today to talk about Nicole Parker, I got it right, I'm so glad, to talk about the center. And I actually did pull up their mission statement just so I could read it for you. So our mission statement says, the mission of the LGBTQ plus Center of Orlando is to promote empowerment in the LGBTQ plus community and its allies through advocacy, education, information, and support. So with that information, I do welcome up our guest, Nicole Parker.
Good morning, everyone. Well, once again, my name is Nicole Parker, pronoun she, her, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer at the Center Orlando. And I'm so happy to share space with you all today. I have a short presentation for you.
There we go.
Let me see if I can. Okay. I'll just kind of give you a thumbs up to change it if you can. So I typically start with a safe space warning, but I have to say, walking in here, it's such a calming energy, and it feels like such a safe space. And I think that's incredible. We need more of that in our world right now. But just to kind of go over it, I always like to make sure that if anyone has any questions or anything, nothing is off limits, feel free to ask, but I want to make sure that we all respect each other and we all know that some people may have a different understanding of the LGBTQ community, and that's okay. That's why we're here to talk about it. So can we all agree to our community agreement?
Absolutely.
Perfect. 100%. Ooh, going the wrong way. There we go. So what are we going to cover today? I'm going to start off kind of talking about who I am. I don't want to just be someone up here. I want you to know a little bit about my journey and how I got into nonprofit. It's been about a decade now that I've been a nonprofit, and to just kind of see the ebbs and flows, especially with what's going on in the world, has been very challenging. I'm going to talk about the LGBT Center, which is right on Mills, talk about LGBTQ history and foundational understanding. So I'm just going to talk about some of the verbiage and some of the words you may hear. I never come into a presentation assuming everyone knows what every acronym means or anything like that. So I want to kind of go through that. And then we're going to talk about challenges, and then the question I'm asked all the time, how can I be a better ally? At the end of this, you will be able to ask any question that you may have. So I'm excited, and let's get started. There we go. Woo, jump scare. Woo, it's been a long time. But I knew that I was trans at probably the age of 4 or 5. Now, obviously, I could not put that into words. I did not know what that meant, but I knew I was different. I didn't realize what this journey would be. I didn't realize how difficult it would be, but I am thankful for all of my experiences. Some things that come to my mind are when I was 15, I remember coming home, and my mom had my MySpace up. Y'all remember MySpace? Oh, yeah. The good days. And it said bye. And she looked at me and she said, are you bi or do you want to be a girl? And I remember like, whoa, I thought I was hiding this well. And I kind of freeze and I was like, oh, I'm just bi. And she kind of side-eyed me. She's like, okay. So fast forward to Thanksgiving of that year, we were in Louisiana. And something compelled me just to come out to her. I said, Mom, I'm trans. And she looked at me and she said, you can do whatever you want with your life, but not in this house. Now, mind you, back then we didn't talk about trans. My mom had no idea what that was. Her only kind of concept was maybe like a drag queen at a gay bar. She just had no concept of it. So I remember initially just kind of taking that rejection and kind of putting it in my back pocket and navigating through. At 19, I sold my car, quit my job, and took her out to lunch. And she thought, oh, you know, they got a job and they're taking me out to lunch. And I said, Mom, I'm leaving to transition. And if you remember the cartoon where the eyes bug out of their head, that is my mother. She's like, what do you mean? And I said, remember, you said I couldn't do that in this house. And she remembered that she had said that. Now, I don't blame her because she didn't know what that meant. She was scared, I was scared, but I had to do what I had to do. So I left my house, oh goodness, with $3,000 and went to New York City. And that got me for about a week. And unfortunately after that, I fell into survival sex work. And that is the experience of a lot of trans people, because my ID was not changed at the time. So when I would go for interviews, it was okay in the beginning, but if for some reason I needed to give my ID or something, they would look at me and say, I'll give you a call back. And I never got that call back. Some of the experiences that I went through in my life during that time, I would not wish on my worst enemy. And I'll never forget, I was with one of my friends and we were just talking and I said, does it ever get better than this? And she said, no girl, this is it for us, get used to it. Wow. And that never sat right with me. I felt like I wanted to do more with my life. So I told myself, I don't care if I make $2 an hour, I'm gonna get a bus ticket, come back to Orlando and make a life for myself. I ended up getting a job when I came back as a receptionist. It was my first time working as Nicole, feeling seen, feeling affirmed, and then the Pulse nightclub shooting happened. And we all have our safe spaces, and Pulse was mine. Pulse was the first place I went as Nicole. Pulse was the first place that I really felt seen and heard, and that's when I got into nonprofit. And I can't believe it's 2026, that'll be 10 years this year since the Pulse tragedy. But what is interesting to me is just the ebbs and flows of nonprofit. So as I get to the center, we'll kind of talk about, we lost $500,000 in funding this year, or last year. And navigating that has been hard. But what I think is beautiful is Orlando has such a unique situation where we've elevated so many leaders. So you get to hear from so many different experiences, and I think that's so important because we can all learn from each other. We're all different, but that's the beauty. We're supposed to celebrate our differences. Can you imagine if we were all the same, how boring life would be? I think it's so incredible that we are different and we can learn from each other. So that's a little bit about me. I just wanted you to know who I was. So the introduction to the LGBT Center. It was founded in 1978. In 2028, we're coming up on our 50th year. We have 2 locations, one on Mills Avenue and one on Hillcrest Street. We used to have 3 locations, but unfortunately we closed our Kissimmee location last year due to funding. So some of the services that we provide are HIV, Hep C, STI, and STD testing. We're actually the #1 tester in Orange, Osceola, and Seminole. Last year, I think we did 5,200 tests. Wow. Mental health counseling, trans services. We have a pride pantry, so if anyone is food insecure, on Mondays from 10 to 2, and on Fridays from 10 to 2, you can come and get any items you may need. We have case management, so if anyone needs linkage to services or just someone to talk through to navigate what they're going through, we have that. We have Narcan and Julie. We have support groups and rentable space. So Julie is kind of like a Plan B pill. So it's yes. So you're able to get that, and Narcan, support groups and rentable space, and everything's free. Wow. Everything is free at the center, and that is something that's really, really special to me because so many people are just. Everything is so expensive. The world is so hard right now, and the last thing you want is to go in and ask for help. So you don't have to do that at the center. You can just come in and use our services. So now we're going to jump into some LGBTQ history and foundational understanding. So kind of just going through LGBTQ history. In 1924, Henry Gerber was the first documented gay rights organization, and it was short-lived due to police suppression. So you can imagine in the 20s, that probably, wasn't well received. But that is kind of the very beginning of our history. 1969 Stonewall, that's the one that a lot of people are very familiar with. That was where the police were raiding bars, and finally the community fought back. And that's what we really kind of look at as the catalyst to our movement. And then in 1973, homosexuality was going to be listed on the sociopathic personality disturbance in the DSM. So what that is very dangerous, is trying to correlate being LGBTQ with being mentally ill. And if you can imagine, in the 70s, people just took and ran with that. And that's where you get some of the rhetoric that you hear. In 1987, the Second March on Washington was the first time that the AIDS quilts were featured. 750,000 people attended. And that was where the National Coming Out Day was created. So if you know, our Pride is in October. and it's come out with pride, and it's around National Coming Out Day, and it also helped to launch ACT UP in the national spotlight. So if you all remember ACT UP, it was in the 80s and 90s. It was some of the first HIV and AIDS activists that would go and, cause good trouble, as I say. And then in 2015, marriage equality. In a 5-4 decision, marriage equality was ruled the law of the land. Can you believe it's only been 11 years since marriage equality had passed? I'll never forget that day. That was one of the most incredible days. You could feel it in the energy and just the world was buzzing. Truly incredible. So let's talk inclusive language. Like I said, I never come into a presentation assuming people know what every acronym means and stuff. So these are just a couple that you'll hear throughout the presentation that I want to kind of go through. So LGBTQ+, which is an acronym for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer, with a plus sign to recognize the limitless sexual orientations and gender identities. Now I want to talk about this real quick. Sometimes when I say queer, people's eyes get real big, because at one point it was considered a derogatory term. However, this is an example of our community taking ownership of a word. So when someone says they're queer, that just simply means they fall somewhere in that acronym. Outing. Outing is exposing someone's lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or non-binary identity to others without permission. And why I want to talk about this is previously, from working at the center, I worked for Equality Florida. I was their director of trans equality, and they're the state's LGBTQ civil rights organization. So a lot of times people would call me with different situations that they're going through, and one sticks out to me. Individual called and said, I just need somebody to talk to about this. I came out to my coworker. She was very, very welcoming and affirming. But the next day I came to work and there was rainbow balloons at my desk. Now, the individual, I'm sure, just wanted to affirm them, say, I see you, I love you, but that unintentionally outed this person to their whole staff. So I say that to say, even in 2026, if someone comes out to you, hold that dear to you. Because I'll never forget, the first person I told that I was trans when I was young was a childhood friend. And when I told her, she's like, girl, we knew. This is not a shock. But for me, I'm up all night, I'm sweating, I'm like so nervous to tell her. But you never know, this person may have just chosen you to come out to. So if they do, just hold that close to yourself, unless they say you can tell the world. Cisgender. So cisgender describes a person whose gender identity aligns with their sex assigned at birth. So if someone is born male and identifies as male, or born female and identifies as female. Gender identity, there's a nice term there. I just like to say that's how you identify as a human being. It's how you identify and how you show up in the world. Transgender describes a person whose identity or expression is different from their sex assigned at birth. So for me, born male, transition to female, or someone born female, transition to male, would be considered transgender. And non-binary is someone who does not identify with the typical binary. So they could be male, female, somewhere in between, neither. So that would be, we're going to go over pronouns next, but that would be someone who most of the time uses they, them pronouns. Good old pronouns. Now, I want to say, first and foremost, as a trans person, I mess up pronouns sometimes. I mess them up. I know it gets people really, really nervous. You want to make sure that you're respecting people, and it's all about intention. I always say, I can tell when someone makes a mistake or someone's trying to take a dig at me. Way back in the day when I didn't have my ID changed, I would go somewhere and get carded. I knew when the guy was like, oh, here you go, sir, trying to be nasty. Or I know when someone just says, hey, Nicole, what are you doing over there? Oh, he's over here. I mean, she, and just makes a mistake. We're all human beings, and that's okay. However, if you mess up pronouns, the worst thing you want to do is, oh, Nicole, I'm sorry, I meant she. You don't look like a man. It's okay. When you start to kind of go down that whole rabbit hole, you don't have to do that. Just simply correct and keep going. I always say we can tell intention, so we know when people make mistakes. We're all human beings. So she, her pronouns are typically pronouns for someone who presents more feminine. He, him pronouns are typically pronouns for someone who presents more masculine, and they, them pronouns are typically for someone who is non-binary. However, there can be a variation of each, and this is where it kind of gets confusing for some folks. So someone could say, I go by they, them, he, him. So that means that they go by whatever pronouns they're telling you, those are the ones that you can use. So you would be able to say they or he, but they do not like to use she. So I always tell people, I know socially it still seems a little odd, but the best thing that you can do is ask someone their pronouns. So, hi, my name's Nicole, pronoun she, her, what are your pronouns? Then you're allowing these individuals to tell you who they are, and then you can go from there. But don't get caught up if you make a mistake, it's okay. So what does transitioning mean? There's a lot of nuance when it comes to transitioning. It's a buzzword, we see it politically a lot right now, so I just want to kind of like break some of this down. A social transition, that's simply just making sure that your family, your work, your friends, your church, your social groups, they know that you're transitioning. That just means socially you've let people know. Administrative, that is where you are changing your ID, your gender marker, things like that. That is not an option here in Florida anymore, but before it was, where you can go and have your gender marker changed. Or medical transition, hormone replacement therapy, surgeries, things of that nature. Now, I want to say that some people do all or neither of these, and regardless, it's valid. I think for us as humans, we always assume that for someone to be trans, we have to see what we're used to seeing, someone literally transition. But not everybody is like that. People show up in the world how they are, and it's valid regardless. So some people may do a social transition and a medical and never change their ID, or change their ID and that's it. So like I said, there's a lot of nuance to it, but just understand that we all kind of have an idea of what trans is and kind of just dismantle that in your head and let folks tell you who they are. Understanding the risks of transitioning. A lot of people, you know, the naysayers are like, that's your choice, you did that. I would not choose this. I'm happy in who I am and I'm blessed to be here and I'm very thankful, but it's a very difficult life. So when you look at this, your authentic self is in the middle. All of these are at risk when you transition. Your job or your career, we're in Florida. It's a right to work state. And though they may not come out right away and say, we're firing you because you're trans, it happens all the time that someone comes out as trans and all of a sudden their work's not up to par and they're out the door. Things happen like that all the time. Your spouse, your hobby, your friends, traveling is very dangerous, especially if your ID is not changed. Your family. For me, there's only 2 people in my family that speak to me, my mom and my grandmother. The rest of my family has not seen me since I was 18. I transitioned at 19. They've never even met me this way. It's been 13 years. I've come to the realization that that's okay. You know what I mean? For me, I used to internalize it and try to do everything I can to prove that I was a good person. Not to them, I kind of just like leave them be, but to myself. But now I just realized I'm showing up in the world, I'm helping in the way that I can, and if they don't choose to be a part of my journey, that's okay. But I have my mom, and I have my grandmother, and those are the 2 closest people to me. But I think a lot of people assume it's 2026, people are accepting. No, not always. Sometimes, yeah. I will say it's weird because it's like we take 10 steps forward, 5 back, 2 forward, 5 back. It's an interesting dance because you do see acceptance a lot in the world, but there is still a lot of hate and intolerance. I'm gonna get these right one day. Biases, we all have them, and it's just kind of like I mentioned before, just being aware that we all catalog things in our head differently. When we say trans, our brain says something else. So just kind of dismantle that and acknowledge that we have our biases as human beings and just try to dismantle them. So current challenges that the LGBTQ community faces. So I kind of broke these into years. Some of these overlap, but from 2016 to 2020, it was religious exemption, which quote unquote is licensed to discriminate. So that was businesses and even medical facilities being able to deny services for someone because they're LGBTQ. And that is very, very dangerous. Just imagine going to a emergency room and them turning you away just because you're LGBTQ. 2020 to 2025 is education and parental rights, the Don't Say Gay bill. I know everyone had heard that before, and really creating a tough space for LGBTQ students and especially LGBTQ teachers. They didn't know if they could have a picture of them and their spouse on their desk anymore. They didn't know if they could wear a rainbow pen. It really created a lot of chaos around the education system. And book bans. We all saw the book bans, and we've seen book bans in history, and we know what that leads to. And I will say, people really responded to that. People really, really responded, and it was incredible to see libraries have like a banned book section. Or you go to Pride and there's banned books, booths and stuff. I thought that was amazing. And our current, the transgender erasure and discrimination, the bills are insane. When I used to go up to Tallahassee, there were lawmakers calling us demons and imps to our face. It was just gut-wrenching. I remember when politics, they may have been a little sleazy, but they kind of hid it and they gave you respect. Now it's just pure disrespect. They say anything that they want. It's really a very, very dangerous time. Bathrooms, sports, all of these things, the trans community is the focus. But I always say the needle's always moving. So while 2021 and 2022, 2026, it's been the trans community, and still is, but what is it now? Immigration. It's just constantly moving. Yep, they just find something for the moment and keep going. So this is a fun little diagram for me. It's what people think trans issues are, which is bathrooms and pronouns, and what trans issues really are. Inaccessible mental health care, uneducated medical professionals, our existence being debated by people who have never met us, homelessness. So many things go into what trans issues are, but if you were to watch the news, you'd think it's bathrooms and pronouns. It's crazy. Absolutely. Absolutely. Violence in the trans community. The disproportionate rate of violence the trans and non-binary community faces is astronomical. And I don't think a lot of people know this because it's not widely talked about. If you look right here, all of these numbers are the individuals that were murdered throughout these years. In 2025, 31 plus known murders. And these are just in the United States. So it's plus as well because a lot of the time the media will say the wrong name and folks may not understand like who that individual was. Like someone may know me as Nicole, but they could have put me in the media as something else. So we always acknowledge the ones that aren't talked about. And like even when you see here, 84% of victims were people of color, 50% were Black trans women, 78% were killed with a gun, and 36% of victims with a known killer were killed by a romantic partner, friend, or family member. This is so important to me that people talk about it because regardless, we are all human beings that just want to live authentically. And if something happens to anybody, it should be reported and talked about, no matter who you are. And it's just very concerning always that things happen to the trans community and it's kind of just pushed to the back. So as I kind of end, people always ask me, how can I be a better ally? So first and foremost, staying current on issues facing the LGBTQ community. Research or attending presentations like this. Y'all are already doing it, you know what I mean? So it's just simply being in the know of what's going on. Challenge your friends and family. Now, I'm not saying start an argument. Don't do it at the holidays. But a lot of people don't realize that they're the ones that can make the light bulb go off in their circle. So we've all been around a kitchen table or a restaurant and heard anti-LGBTQ rhetoric. I would just encourage you to say, have you ever met an LGBTQ person? Do you happen to know what they go through? Because sometimes that one conversation can spark someone to be like, I don't, let me look it up. It's not always gonna work, and that's okay, but I think we forget the power that we have in our own circles. Advocate for us in spaces that we don't have a seat at the table. If you're in a space where an LGBTQ voice is not present, advocate for it. If there's a topic that, say it's surrounding LGBTQ issues and you realize that someone's not there, just say, hey, can we invite so-and-so? That really changes the game. And sometimes it just takes that one person there to be able to bring in more. Get involved with LGBTQ causes. There are many LGBTQ nonprofits and programs that you can volunteer for and support LGBTQ businesses and charities if you have the capacity. Donate to one that is near and dear to your heart and or shop at LGBTQ-owned businesses. You all have done that. We are so thankful that you have chosen us as your charity. Yeah, give me 1 second. That you have chosen us as your charity. It means the world to us. And I'm going to tell everybody about this space. When I tell you I'm big on energy, I'm going to say it again. And walking in, it was just so welcoming and comforting. And I want more people to know and be able to experience this. So I'm so thankful to be able to share space with you all. So today's takeaways, I hope you have a better understanding of the LGBTQ community, the challenges we face, and how you can be a better ally to the community. This is one of my favorite quotes. Diversity is being invited to the party, but inclusion is being asked to dance. Sure. Oh, well, we're gonna go, oh, did you get your photo? Oh, there you go. Hold on 1 second. I'm not very good. It's okay. Perfect. But now I want to open it up for Q&A. Does anyone have any questions? Sure. Yeah.
Okay, it's working now.
Thank you so much, Nicole, for coming. I really appreciate it. And thank Alyssa for setting this up. As a long time ally and someone very outspoken, one of the things in terms of discrimination that breaks my heart the most is the schools that discriminate and kick children out, and also don't let them in, kick them out, and kick out their peers. So I've contacted Masters Academy every way you can possibly do it. They have ignored me every which way they could possibly, which is very cowardly, including showing their policy. So one of the things I've asked an attorney this, and I don't totally understand. I know you're not an attorney. But since it is blatant discrimination, I guess they're protected under religious freedom, back to your points that you made before. Have you seen, I talked to a very notable pastor who this community knows. He's very pro-LGBTQ. He supports the community, and he says, well, we just have to respect their beliefs. And I said, respectfully, no, we don't. I told him, no, we really don't have to respect them. Why would I respect that? Especially what you're doing to children. So have you heard anything along the lines of the Christian schools making any, has there been any advances in Florida to be able to push back against these schools?
So I will say Equality Florida works heavily in this space. They have a Safe and Healthy Schools program. So their program and Parenting with Pride. So that is an additional program that they've added where they have an individual who works directly with parents. There's nothing that I know of right away, but I do want to do a shameless pitch for Southern Legal Counsel. They have incredible lawyers there. They're the ones who brought the lawsuits against, like, Don't Say Gay, trans issues. So if that is something that you wanted to connect with them about, that would be great. Absolutely. Yeah.
The locations you mentioned earlier, do you need any volunteers there at all? Are you looking for any?
Absolutely, yes. We are always looking for volunteers. So whether that's at our events, front desk, if someone is 501, 500 or 501 certified to do HIV testing. So that's just a certification that you have to get through the Florida Department of Health to be able to provide HIV testing.
And where would we go if we wanted to, like, sign up to volunteer or ask if we could?
Yeah, so it'll be thecenterorlando.org, right at that website, and then there'll be a volunteer tab, and then you can sign up there with the other Nicole that works with me. Yeah, of course, thank you. Any other questions?
Amazing.
All right, well, thank you for letting me share space with you. Of course.
Hi, I'm back. Okay, so we did all those things. Amazing presentation. We're okay. We're extinguishing the chalice. Amazing. So we're going to go ahead and say the words while we extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not. Okay, so this is one of my favorite songs. We have When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. It's going to be performed by our congregation, obviously, and led by Gary and E.T.
So I think we know this. You can stand if you're willing and able, and we'll have a short introduction, which is written in the blue hymnals, if you want. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell the story from deep inside, and we tell it with a loving mind, and we hear the voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we serve the silence of sacred space, and the God of our hearts is within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
I love that one. It's amazing. So for my closing words today, I picked something from the Standing with, we don't do Standing on the Side of Love, it's the Side of Love campaign. We changed the words to make sure it was more inclusive to everybody. And this is one of their core principles they want to fight for and continue to move forward with. Anti-trans bills violate human rights and dignity, a core principle of Unitarian Universalism. Every human being has the right to live their free life, free from discrimination. I do believe we have a postlude. Thank you, E.T. And that's about it, y'all. Go in peace and have some coffee and conversation. And thank you for being here. Yeah. Bye-bye.